This is the channel where we use the art of photography to magnify the greatness of our Lord and to present His gospel to others. Photos. They time bind the moments and memories of our lives, preserving them for us and for generations to come. The people we love, the moments that bring smiles to our faces, remembrances of those who have passed on, all captured in photos and portraits. Before the digital age, these images were precious paper copies, fragile and vulnerable to the passage of time. They could be damaged by the environment, lost, burned, and destroyed. As the years go by, these tangible memories can fade and deteriorate, taking with them pieces of our history and the stories they hold. Now, in the digital age, we have the power to save them. Through modern technology, we can breathe new life into these fading moments. Preserving your precious moments and your photographic memories, that's what we're going to be talking about today. This past weekend, I spent some time in my mom's house and going through and looking at the different photos. She is packed with photos in that house. So many memories. And then, I started to realize that, wow, we only have one copy of these, and, some of them need some work. So let's take a look. Let's go to Mom's house, and I'll show you what I ran into. There's a couple of problems that I've noticed with these pictures so far. One is there's only one copy of them. There's three of us kids, and as you can imagine, I'm sure we'd all like to have a copy of these incredible old memories of us as children that hang here on the wall. The second problem is what pictures do over a period of time, they have a tendency to fade. And so these images were once colored images and they're fading. Now, I don't know if I can do a whole lot about the fading. I know what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy some of these photos. I'm going to see if we can restore them. If anything, you can always switch them to black and white, and that gives me more than one copy, or gives me a digital file that we can make more copies with, because who knows who took these pictures. A lot of these services are out of business by now, but got to be careful with these old pictures. So let's take them down, and I'll show you how you proceed from here. Okay, so I've got 4 pictures here that I'm going to work on. This one, that's my little sister. Still got a little, I may be able to pull this in, I may not. Still got a little color in it. This is a picture of Mom with one of her sisters. Does have a little damage spot to it. Know I can take care of that and freshen that one up a little bit. This one, wow, it's a picture of my brother and I. I'm not so sure I can pull that in. There's not much left to it except red, but it'll make a great black and white shot for sure. And then this old one of my mom with her sisters, starting to fade a little bit, and I may have caught it in time. So that's something you think about in taking care of your older images, is once you start to see that it's starting to fade a little bit, you need to make a copy of that picture and save that dude while you can. So I'm going to show you how to get these out of here and check. You got to be very, very, very careful to make sure that the emulsion, which is the image, is not stuck to the glass. We live down here in the South, and in the South there's a lot of humidity, and that kind of thing happens. So you got to be very careful. This one looks like it's absolutely, quite possibly, still, yeah, it's still good. Not stuck to that glass at all. My mom was 5 years old in this one, and my Aunt Betty was 6 months old. So I'll be able to fix this one and bring the contrast of the black and white back up and fix that little, whatever that spot is right there where it looks like it's got a little paper nick. I'll be able to fix that. All right, so I'm going to make sure that this dude, if it starts tearing, I am going to stop it. Looks like, yep, it's good. It is not stuck. We got lucky, we're 2 for 2. Yep, that's pretty much what I thought. This one is not stuck to the glass at all. Still got good color here, so I'll be able to rich this color up so that it looks like the day it was printed off. This was in good shape. Always notice if they're starting to turn. Now this one, Probably going to be far too far. There's not much left but reds, shade of reds with it. This one, I've still got a lot of range of color and still got a little bit of saturation. So, good bit of saturation, but I'm starting to notice it's starting to redden just a little bit. So we want to shoot this dude, fix that color correction, boost up the saturation, and save it as a digital JPEG. And hey, the family can have them at this point. There's no marking on the backside. I have no idea who the photographers were, and I always want to be respectful. If there's a photographer marking where I can contact the photographer to see if there's any way that he still has still has negatives or something that we can purchase the image, I'll try to do that. But a lot of times these were traveling guys, and like I said, they came through to department stores and pharmacies and stuff, and heck, they may not even be doing photography anymore, may even be living. So, because these are old images. Picking up one corner easy, and booyah, we are 4 for 4. We have nothing sticking here in the deep south, in the humid south. So, okay, let's go copy these things. So basically what we want to do is we want to find a shaded spot. We want good light. So a lot of times I do these outside in a shaded area so I get good ambient light. She's going to hold top and bottom. Her fingers are not in the image. I'm not too worried about that because I can crop it anyway. So I want to get right in front of the image because I don't want anything, if the top is too far toward the camera and the bottom's away from it, you're distorting. I want to get right center, right in front, and copy this image. I'm going to move my exposure around a little bit because I don't want it to be too bright. I want to make sure that I capture everything that I can. I can always brighten it up a little bit, but I don't want to lose any color. This is the one that's got a little damage to it. Hold it on up for me. Lean it back a little. Lean it back a little more. Lean it back a little more right there. The other thing I'm going to make sure I do is I don't want to shoot a real wide angle because the wider you get, you start to see some distortion. So I'm shooting at 70 millimeter. I'm actually telephoto in just a little bit. And again, now Lindsay's holding top and bottom, and she's going to pull just a little bit to make sure that the image is not bending or curving. Pull out back here. Come out this way. There you go. Yeah, see, this one's still got good color, but it's just starting to turn. Okay, let's hold it there. Yeah, I don't know if I can fix the color on this one, but at least I can get it copied and turn it black and white. Okay, so we'll put them into Photoshop and do some work on them so we can get it to look like. Okay, so this is what we came up with. We'll look at this first image. This is the image of my brother and I. This one really has, the colors faded out on it bad over the years, and really what's left is just a lot of red. So I wasn't able to pull the color back in. So my process when I put these in is I take every color and pull the saturation all the way out, and then I go add every color in one at a time. Red, orange, blue, green, yellow, magenta, the whole gamut of colors. And basically I had a lot of red, but I didn't have anything else. And if I don't have a color, it's hard for me to pull that color back in. So this image, we weren't able to restore color-wise, but here it is before, and here it is after. We just pulled it down to a black and white image and cleaned it up a little bit, increased the contrast, and now we have a copy that my brother and my sister and I can all have one. So that's nice. The next image was the image of my little sister. This was one of my favorite pictures of her when she was a kid. And again, you can see some color, but when I got ready to try to saturate those colors a little more, they weren't there to do it. So once again, I wound up turning it to a black and white, and it had a couple of specks and a couple of little cracks in it that when I pulled it up close I could see, and I took those out. Now, this next image is an image of my mother and my Aunt Betty when my mom was like 5. This image, and I apologize, Mom, but I got to tell them, this image is 77 years old. So this image has been around for a while. It did have a torn place in it, and so we copied it. We were able to bring up the exposure in it. I was able to fix that spot, and then it had several other smaller spots as well. We were able to fix those. Last image of my mom, my Aunt Betty, who is seated, and my Aunt Peggy, who is standing beside my mom. Now, in the previous picture, my mom and my Aunt Betty that's seated, those were the two little ones in the previous picture. This picture, Aunt Peggy was, wow, she one of the funniest human beings I knew growing up, and she's passed on from this life. So this image is very special to us. And we were able to go in, and it had enough color. This one had started fading, and you could start seeing it getting a little red and turning. We were able to really get it back. It looks great now. Again, a couple of spots on it that I was able to fix, and those images are good. So we had 4 images. We restored 2. We restored one with color. One was black and white. The other 2 color ones, we couldn't restore the color in it, but we did get them copied and cleaned up, and they look good. And I got to thinking about, restore. And the one Bible verse that came to mind on that was Psalms 23:3, 23rd Psalm. A lot of us have memorized that when we were children. The 3rd verse says, He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. That he restores right there, it's the Hebrew wording, Yeshoavev. And basically it's the idea of to turn back, to return. A beautiful, beautiful idea. And I think back about, the things that I've done in my life and the times when I've messed things up. And to know that, like the psalmist said, he restores my soul. God, when we mess up, when we sin, he is quick to forgive us if we come and repent. Sometimes the consequences of our actions, they're not always turned around. Your relationships that you may do damage to, sometimes those don't get restored. Thinking about a pastor that was asked to step down. I know those guys usually always want to get back in the pulpit, but if you've disqualified yourself from ministry, you're not going to get back in the pulpit. But the good thing is he restores our soul. And that is so important to me. Knowing that I may have done some things that messed stuff up in my life, but knowing that God is there and he restores my soul, that's a big deal. But look at that last part. This is the part that I really like about this verse. He leads me in paths of righteousness. The idea is it's a well-defined pathway. And he leads us down that path of righteousness for what? For his name's sake. I think a lot of times we have a tendency to forget that, we're not living this life for ourselves. We all have a tendency to be a little selfish when it comes to that respect. We're living this life, we should be, to bring honor and glory to him. That's a big deal. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake, so that he gets the glory, so that we can say, hey, he restored my soul. I am just, I'm absolutely pumped. I was thinking about that while I was working on those images and restoring them and going, man, you know what? I can restore some images and I'm fairly good at it. But God is perfect in restoring our soul. Isn't that a beautiful thought? Hey, I hope you've learned something about restoring your images, and I'd encourage you to look around some of your older images. If there's some issues with them, then go ahead and, start making plans to copy those images, get them shot, do some things. If you need help, you can reach out to someone, to a professional that does some photo restoration and get some help with that. But keep those things safe so that, if anything were to happen, your images are okay. So until next time, keep taking those photos, but keep your focus on Him.